Ms. Gauravi and Ms. Shashi, welcome back to yet another interesting episode on Nipun Bharat. Continuing our discussion, we want to touch upon a very important concept. In the implementation of this policy, along with the school, the teachers play a very crucial role. In order to effectively translate and implement the aspects of the policy, we definitely need to reflect upon teacher professional development. So, Ms. Gauravi, how can we build the teacher education capacity in this respect?
It's very interesting. In Muktangan, we have this belief that there are 3 children and 40 teachers. Now, what do I mean by this? Usually, if you see, in Muktangan, we have 1:15, maximum 15 ratio, teacher-child ratio, 1 teacher to 15 children. So, ideally, we keep 3 teachers in one classroom with 40 to 42 children with them. You could see it as there are 3 teachers and 40 to 42 children in the classroom, but what we believe in the context of teacher education, that there are 42 teachers with you and you are 3 children with them. Now, this is where, so if you begin with this kind of thinking, you know that you are not there to teach, you are there to learn from children, you've got to have that attitude, that right mindset of teaching preschool children and facilitating learning with preschool children, I would rather say, where you focus a lot on understanding what the children, where they are, and follow them rather than asking them to follow you and learn from you. So it's an entire give and take process that the teacher education and the teacher training belief and mindset that we have here. So taking that into consideration, of course, then a lot of focus is on getting teachers to reflect. These are also our core values, to reflect on everything that we do. So the entire curriculum planning cycle is designed in such a way that the teachers reflect on a daily basis. So if she is learning from the children, obviously she cannot just say, okay, I have learned it and now I don't know what to do with it and I have this fixed curriculum and I will simply follow that. You cannot be doing that. So what they do is, after they've had their routine with their children, they come together, the teaching team comes together, they share their observations with each other, and then they make sense out of it and reflect on what strategies that they need to adopt for the next day, which would work for to facilitate learning even better the following day. And that is how the entire process of curriculum planning also goes ahead. So a lot of investment in terms of in-service teacher education goes in that way. They're not doing that reflection alone. They have an expert with them from Muktangan who's also coordinating and leading the preschool for them, who helps them to reflect on this and then come to some solutions or strategies to even strengthen what they are already doing. So that's one part of in-service teacher education. Then vacation time also, they are not spared as such. Even during vacations, though children are vacationing, our teachers do not do the entire vacation period for a week or 10 days. They are with us and they do a lot of these different reflective practices. We also have end of each term where the teachers themselves come up with ideas. Oh, I want to learn this skill. This is something that I want to incorporate, and then we work on those teacher professional development aspects. In terms of pre-service, when they are not teaching in our classrooms, when they come as trainees to us, a lot of intensive work happens there also, where that same mindset is something that we keep reiterating in each of the training classes that we do with them. There is an intensive internship that they do. Our training center, Muktangan Training Center, is in the same premises as the schools are. It's not divorced from each other like a lot of traditional teacher education models are. The teacher education center is in one place, they go to school in another place, and they do not see the connect. So the whole purpose of teacher education in Muktangan is to get the teachers to see the learning and teaching the way it actually is in the classroom. So only then they understand and incorporate those right values, those right mindset of how to go about teaching young children. And also Nipun Bharat talks about, NEP talks about very strong teacher development programs which are reflective, which gets the teachers to develop those skills herself, those critical 21st century skills that NEP also talks about that children should have, and those same skills need to be incorporated by teachers. Once they have it, when they are critical thinkers, they are collaborative in their approach, that is what they will then take it in the classroom. So that's a whole planning cycle that goes around this. So teacher development, teacher professional education is something that Muktangan takes very, very seriously.
That's interesting because we've always focused upon teachers. I mean, they're very skilled in terms of the theory, in terms of the knowledge, but then actually, are you having the right skills to facilitate a classroom full of preschool children? That is something that we really need to focus upon because, like you said, reflection, openness to change, these are very important attributes that teachers must possess if they really want to develop any sort of activity or any kind of student engagement that makes it interesting for the children at the end of the day. So I think that is a very vital point, that teachers need to be reflective, they need to be adaptable, open to change, and keep in mind the 21st century skills that are so important in today's day and age. This brings me to the next point, which is on assessment, because when you spoke about reflection, I also realized the assessment system up to now has largely been an evaluation at the end of the term, and the marks are given, and then again you come to a new academic term. So there is a lot of disconnect between what children learn, the concepts, and how they are translating it into their daily lives. So the policy also highlights a vital point on assessment of children that is based on their learning levels consistently through a multitude of assessment techniques. Are we really doing justice to a child's learning potential by simply scoring them at the end of a term? What are some of the ways in which children are assessed in Muktangan?
So in terms of assessment, I would like to mention here that giving score to the child, it is not justice at all, because in Muktangan we are observing children on daily basis, and based on that only we are giving the report cards to the parents. So now how we are doing that? So we do have the assessment strands for the kids for 5 domains. So first domain is language and literacy. In that we have sub-strand in different criteria like listening and understanding, speech in mother tongue, phonic awareness, then pre-reading, pre-writing. So these are the sub-strands. So in that also we are doing different types of activities through that the teacher observe, and they write in their diary on everyday basis. Like if suppose I have 15 kids, so I have divided my 15 kids into the week. Like on Monday I am going to observe 3 children. So and I am going to write from the beginning when the child is entering in the classroom. From that my observation starts till the child goes to the home. So I write each and everything, then I put it in the component of each and every domain, and then I need to plan out with my faculty if the child is on level 1. Okay, so what I have to do to reach out to the level 2. So that is my role as a teacher, to see how the child is doing it. So for example, I would like to share about the letters being taught in traditional school, like A to Z, and the teacher is giving score that the child knows A to Z, the child knows 1 to 100, but is that the child knows the sound of letter? That is most important. So in Muktangan, what we are doing the letter stage wise. Okay, so we are first stage where we are just doing single sound letter like b, 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 t, t, s, h, h. So likewise we are doing. Then stage 2 we are doing 2 letter sound. So slowly we are gradually we are increasing our this letter of the sound, how we are going to do it. So in that manner the teacher observe. Suppose in June the child was just saying letter B B sound. Okay, and then gradually you can see in July the child started saying B B sound, T T sound. So slowly, and it happens like not in that manner. No, A for apple. So we are doing like A says a apple. Whereas in traditional school, A for apple. But what is the apple? How it look like? So that is most important, where the child needs to explore each and everything, and through that the teacher has to assess. It is not about the paper pencil test at all. It's about how we are doing it. So that is also there, and the assessment part we are doing with the parents also, so that the parent should understand how my child is being in the classroom and how the child is developing. Because in Muktangan we are believing in triangle. The child is in the middle, and the teacher and the parents are the most key, I can say, supporter for the child. So, for example, if my child, there are observation when the teachers are saying that child doesn't talk much, बच्चा ज़्यादा बात नहीं करता है, then what the teacher will do? Teacher will go for the home visit. She will talk to the parents. She will ask what is happening, how these things are happening. Then the parent also includes his own points. He gives his own inputs on that, and then together they are working for the child. How my child can reach from one level to other level. It is very important. So we cannot just judge that A to Z आ गया तो मेरे बच्चे को सब आ गया. It is not like that. And for the numeracy also, it is very important that the child should get pre-number concept first, rather than doing just 1 to 100. The child doesn't know the value. What is most important? The child should know the value. If I am saying 1, the child should get one object with that. So it is very important that we as a teacher, we need to understand from the child perspective how the child is growing. So we should have descriptive report for the children, not to have marks.
So there's one very important aspect that NEP speaks about, and that is formative assessment. Now this is something that a lot of teachers, the problem is that when it comes to early years, this is what our experience has been when we work with other Balwadis and NGOs, is that they don't understand what formative assessment is, and they don't understand what is the right way to assess young children. Because that understanding is not there, you see they end up doing these other things where they give exams, they do oral tests with children. Now when the right understanding comes in, only then they will implement what is actually is the spirit of NEP and Nipun Bharat. So formative assessment in Muktangan is in terms of observations, as Shashi just explained, that they do intensive observation, they note down observation, then they write a descriptive record and they give a report to the parent in the end. Now it also, there's another aspect to the formative assessment, is one is written observation of the anecdotes that the teacher has seen in children. Second is also portfolio assessment, which is very, very crucial, which I see that a lot of preschools don't maintain, but it's very, very important for teachers to do, is to keep a record of all of children's work in one place. Then when she looks back at them, she or he is then able to assess and see, okay, where the child was. Say for example, it's drawing, and you have different samples of children's drawings. You can see a development when the child came in first in the beginning of the year till the end of the year. So a lot of these portfolio samples also help in assessing children's development really, really well. So these are some other things, some other aspects that preschools miss out on, and something that we use as a huge strength in Muktangan.
Absolutely, and I think what you highlighted here is the assessment for learning that we talk about, where we are looking at every child's individual learning levels, their individual strengths, areas where they may need more support in collaboration with the teachers as well as the parents. And that, I think, when we foster that right from the early years, it really translates into a very collaborative environment for children. What we see traditionally is children grow up in a very very stressed and a very competitive environment where marks become the deciding factor for many things in their lives. And when we have an assessment system that is flexible, that looks at individual learning levels, that is supportive, that helps children understand and take up their own, their responsibility for their own self-learning, it makes the environment a lot more collaborative, and that also strengthens their peer relationship that they share with their classmates, with their friends in the class. So I think that's a very, very interesting point that you have brought out. Thank you so much, Ms. Shashi and Ms. Gauravi, for joining us in the second part of our discussion, and requesting everyone to stay tuned for the final part on Nipun Bharat. Thank you so much.